Gene Hackman's passing at the very day the Epstein list turned into uncovered. A mere coincidence or a chilling warning from the electricity agents in the shadows? Hollywood is reeling. The online network is in an uproar. People are connecting the dots. A cinematic legend, a tremendous secret, an abrupt give up. No one imagined that certainly one of Hollywood's finest icons could have possessed the very names this sector yearns to recognize. Was this a tragic coincidence or a flawless silencing? Hollywood, politics, strength, and silence. Who is manipulating it all? Who desired Gene Hackman long past? Who is rewriting the truth? This is unequivocally a huge secret, a colossal network of untouchables, people who can stifle the truth just as it's approximately to floor. Gene Hackman, a Hollywood legend, an irreplaceable icon of the silver display. His name is synonymous with conventional roles in The French Connection, Unforgiven, and a bunch of timeless films. For decades, he changed into admired, now not handiest for his incredible talent, however, also for his discreet lifestyle, fending off the scandals of the amusement world. But then, on a fateful day, information of Gene Hackman and his wife's sudden passing greatly surprised the sector. And what made everything greater suspicious than ever? The timing, uncannily coinciding with a seismic occasion, the respectable launch of Jeffrey Epstein's patron list. That day, newspaper headlines blazed with unexpected names. The long-awaited listing had finally arrived, containing a plethora of outstanding figures from politicians and business magnates to Hollywood stars. People anxiously anticipated the revealing of facts, secrets that could now not be concealed. Another piece of news emerged. Gene Hackman and his spouse had been determined deceased. At this factor, questions started out to rise up. How should or not it's this sort of accident? A legendary actor with specific connections to the elite departs this international on the very day the Epstein list is revealed. Could there be a secret buried with him? People scrutinized the info surrounding the incident extra intently. First, the area. Gene Hackman and his wife had been located in their house, a place known for its absolute security. There had been no signs and symptoms of intrusion, no reports of any prior disturbances. Everything turned into too ideal, too easy. Next, the timing. Why on the precise day the Epstein list surfaced? If it turned into just a twist of fate, it was possibly one of the maximum weird coincidences in history. Hackman's unswerving enthusiasts right away took to social media, expressing their skepticism. Debates erupted, fueling a sequence of conspiracy theories. Some believed Hackman may have possessed critical statistics about the Epstein case. Others advised he could have been threatened or even compelled into everlasting silence. So changed into Gene Hackman involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Previously, there had been no documents or evidence confirming his connection to the disgraced financier. But when the listing turned into launched, many at once checked to look if his name regarded. The end result? Gene Hackman's call turned into absinthe. However, that doesn't necessarily imply he become completely unaware of the scandal. Hackman were in the film industry for many years with connections to severe influential figures. He had labored with administrators, producers, and actors who are now suspected of having ties to Epstein. Could he have recognized something? Could he have been privy to secrets and techniques that some desired to remain hidden? Another abnormal element surfaced while an anonymous supply claimed that Hackman had expressed the situation approximately dark forces controlling Hollywood. Although there may be no concrete evidence, this further fueled suspicions. Could he have been underneath surveillance? A submit on a Reddit discussion board right away prompted a stir. What if Hackman turned into planning to expose something? What if he knew too much? And what if this become their way of shutting him up? The questions remain unanswered, but one element is certain. This story cannot be simply disregarded. Gene Hackman passed away on a day whilst the arena became exploding with stunning statistics. Was this simply a coincidence or a part of a bigger enigma? Did he virtually realize something that some people wanted to maintain concealed? The answer remains a thriller. But one factor is sure, the general public will now, not without problems, allow this tale fade away. As the list leaked online, most important information shop Speedy jumped into movement. Everyone searched for a familiar face, a stunning name. High-profile figures from billionaires and politicians to movie superstars were noted separately. But amidst the sea of names, Gene Hackman became absent. For many, this became a remedy. Hackman became constantly known as a skilled actor with a non-public life and infrequently concerned in Hollywood scandals. But instead of silencing all hypotheses, Hackman's absence from the list raised even more questions. Were some names removed to guard influential figures? And most importantly, did Hackman realize something that some human beings did not need discovered? Was the list manipulated? One of the most debated troubles on forums changed into the accuracy of the Epstein list. Some humans argued that the listing had been edited earlier than it reached the general public. Documents related to Epstein had continually been tightly controlled. Since the case commenced, many vital files had mysteriously disappeared, and plenty of witnesses had remained silent or withdrawn from investigations. A journalist who had observed the Epstein case from the start spoke up. "Do you simply assume we got the entire listing? How many names had been removed earlier than the general public ever saw it?" And this is when Gene Hackman again to the discussions. Some human beings believed that if Hackman was indeed making plans to reveal something, he might have possessed a greater complete version of the listing, an uncensored, unredacted model. But if that became the case, wherein did he get it from? And extra importantly, who desired to silence him? Although Gene Hackman's name changed into no longer on the listing, that did not mean he changed into completely uninvolved inside the case. With over 50 years inside the enjoyment enterprise, Hackman had connections to a multitude of influential figures. He had worked with many effective directors, actors, and manufacturers, some of whom have been suspected of getting ties to Epstein. Throughout his profession, Hackman had usually distanced himself from the extravagant events of Hollywood. He left the film industry in 2004, moving to stay an easy life in New Mexico, but turned into it because he noticed something that made him want to disassociate from Hollywood. Another hypothesis became raised. If Hackman had no direct touch with Epstein, may want to he have visible, heard, or acknowledged something that a person didn't need him to reveal. While Hackman's name changed into absent from the listing, many different effective figures were no longer Washington, Wall Street. Each region had representatives. Some influential figures right now denied the allegations, while others chose to stay silent. Articles regarded continuously revealing new info, but the enormous factor turned into none of the named figures faced severe legal effects. Some investigations have been opened, but then the whole thing gradually subsided. Those following the case commenced to ask, why is it that on every occasion the reality begins to come out? It one way or the other recedes buried again. The silence of the mainstream media also made many human beings suspicious. Major news channels best referred to positive names, whilst omitting the most influential figures. As matters have become chaotic, any other principle commenced to circulate. Gene Hackman may have planned to expose something important, and possibly a person wanted to make certain he couldn't do it. An anonymous discussion board put up dispatched chills down many spines. If Hackman had something to mention, we will by no means hear it now. They made certain of that. Those who believed in this conspiracy idea talked about that the timing of Hackman's passing turned into too coincidental to be just a chance occurrence. If he surely had critical statistics, what befell to it? Who had the most powerful reason to make sure it by no means came to mild? Regardless of the fact, one thing is apparent. The Epstein list isn't a simple story. There are still too many unanswered questions. Did Hackman really realize something vital? How normally turned into the list edited earlier than it became launched? Why haven't the biggest names been delivered to justice? Until those questions are replied, the Epstein case and the mysteries surrounding Gene Hackman will remain an arguable subject matter. And for those who accept as true, with Hackman held the truth, one issue is certain. They will no longer stop looking for answers. One unique concept has captured huge attention. Hackman may additionally have possessed a secret that a person did not need him to show.